All right, this is 7.4, which is continuing adding and subtracting fractions. The biggest thing you need when you are adding and subtracting fractions is a common denominator. In 7.3, they all already had that, so now I'm going to show you what to do if they don't. The first thing you need to do is get a common denominator. The easiest way to do that is just to multiply by the other fraction's denominator. So 15 over 15 equals 1, so we're not changing the value of the fraction, even though we're changing the numbers. 3 times 15 is 45. 15 times 10 is 150. Then we do the same thing for the other fraction, but we're multiplying by 10. 4 times 10 is 40. 15 times 10 is 150. If we add those together, we get 85 over 150. Then we simplify. These are both divisible by 5. 85 divided by 5 is 17. 115 divided by 5 is 30. Now, your calculator will also do this. You can type it as a division problem. So like 3 divided by 10 in parentheses plus 4 divided by 15 in parentheses will give you a decimal. Some of the calculators, if you use alpha, which is the green button, and then the x that's right next to it, will make a fraction. And using the arrows, you can type 3/10, and then alpha x 4/15. It'll give you the same decimal. But what's even better is if you hit math, which is right under alpha, and then enter, it's going to turn that into a fraction in lowest terms, and you'll get the same thing. So as long as all you have is numbers, you can use the calculator. It won't, unfortunately, do it for variables. Let's keep going. Multiply this by 6 over 6. 7 times 6 is 42. 6 times 8 is 48. Multiply this one by 8 over 8. 8 times 1 is 8. 6 times 8 is 48. And then we subtract. 42 minus 8 is 34. And then those are both divisible by 2, so we get 17 over 24. Now, when we have variables, we're going to do the same thing. One option, just multiply by the other fraction's denominator. So 4 times 5 is 20, y squared, and then 8 times 4 is 32, and y squared times y is y cubed. Then we'd multiply this fraction by 8y. So 7 times 8 is 56. And then 4 times 8 is 32y cubed. Now we combine like terms, which there aren't any on the top, so we would just write it as 20y squared plus 56y over 32y cubed. Now we're going to reduce, factor, and simplify. So 20 and 56 are both divisible by 4, and y squared and y are both divisible by y. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Y squared divided by y is y. 56 divided by 4 is 14. 4 was in 1. Yep, 14. And the y would go away. Bottom stays 32y cubed. Now we look at what we can cross out on the top and the bottom. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 32 divided by 4 is 8. And if I take out 1y from the bottom, this becomes y squared. So we have 5y plus 14 over y squared, and that's as low as we can get it. Sometimes you're going to have a whole term on the bottom. Same thing applies. We're just going to multiply by the whole binomial x plus 1. So if I distributed that 1, I'd be left with x plus 1 on the top, and then x plus 1, x minus 1 on the bottom. On this second one, we're going to multiply by x minus 1. So distribute the 1, we get x minus 1 over x plus 1 times x minus 1. Now we combine like terms. X plus x is 2x. 1 plus negative 1 is 0. Bottom stays the same. There's no terms on the top and the bottom that cancel, so that is our solution. If you have a trinomial, the best thing to do is to factor it first. Then you can see what factors you need to make your life easier. So a times c, factors of 1, greatest common factor, multiply up, multiply across. This is going to turn into x plus 1 times x plus 1. Now, we could do the same thing. We could multiply the first fraction by x plus 1 and the second fraction by 2 of those. But because they're the same, we can skip a step and just multiply this one by one of the x plus 1s, because then we'll have the 2 on the bottom that the first one has. So our first fraction is going to stay x over x plus 1, x plus 1. And then our second fraction, once we distribute that 1, would be x plus 1 over x plus 1, x plus 1. Then we combine like terms. X plus x is 2x. The bottom's going to be x plus 1 times x plus 1. And we can't simplify, so that's our answer. Subtraction works the same way. The key thing is paying attention to the signs and not messing up by dropping negatives when you have two together. So I'll do a couple, and then I'll have you try a couple if you want. This first one, we're going to multiply by z minus 1 over z minus 1. So distribute 5z minus 5. And for this part, we actually want to do it out because we're going to have to combine like terms. The bottom, we can just keep as z times z minus 1. The second fraction, we're going to multiply by z. So we get minus z squared on top, and then the same thing on the bottom. So now we subtract. There's no z squared, so we have negative z squared plus 5z minus 5 on top, and then z times z minus 1 on the bottom. I'm going to factor out a negative 1 because I like having my a positive. Makes my life easier. And just change all the signs of the other ones. Now I'm going to tic-tac-toe that top. So 1, negative 5, 5. Factors of 5 would be 1 and 5, or that's it. So there's no way to get that. So that's as far factored out as it can be. All right. So you try the other two. See how you feel. Check in. Watch a video if you need more help. See what you can do. So I'm going to start difference of squares. X plus 1, x minus 1. Since this one already has the x plus 1, I'm only going to multiply by the x minus 1. Distribute the 5. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. The bottom is x plus 1, x minus 1. The second one, we said we didn't need to multiply, so I'm just going to write minus 1. Now, 5x, there is no other term, x, so it's just 5x. And then negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. And we're left with x plus 1, x minus 1 on the bottom. Nothing cancels, so we're done. All right, and I think there's 2 more. All right, here we're going to factor the bottom. So we get x. On this one, we'd have x times x minus 2. And on this one, we'd have x times x plus 2. Now, again, you don't have to factor. We could just multiply by the others, but by factoring first, we see we only have to multiply by the binomial, not by the x. So this one needs an x plus 2. So x times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. Bottom becomes x. X plus 2, x minus 2. Then this one, we multiply by x minus 2. So 1 times x is x. And 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Bottom is the same. Now the big thing is we have a minus here. So if we distribute that, it would make this a minus and this a plus. Now it's an addition problem. That way I don't drop the negatives. You don't have to. Just makes it easier for me to see that. So if I combine like terms, there's only 1x squared. Then I have 2x minus x, which is 1x. And then I'm left with a positive 2. Bottom stays the same. So now I'm going to factor the top. 1, 1, 2. Does that work? Because you have 2 and 1. So I don't see that working, so we would be done there. If I just want to check that I did everything right. So x times x, 2x, and then here you have negative x, and you have positive 2. Yep, so it doesn't simplify. If one of them had been a negative, we would have been able to cross something out, but we didn't have them. So this last problem, same process. We just have 3 fractions. You need to get all of the denominators the same. So first I'm going to factor the middle one. So I get x plus 1, and then I see what I'm missing. So the first one doesn't have an x, and it also doesn't have an x plus 1. So we're going to multiply by both of these things. So if I multiply 3x, we get that. Then we distribute. 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 1 is 3x. That's going to leave our bottom with x plus 1, x minus 1. Now let's do the middle. The middle has an x and an x plus 1, but it needs an x minus 1. Minus. So I distribute the 3, but here if I change my plus to a negative, I'm really distributing a negative 3. So negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Bottom stays the same. X minus 1, okay. And then the last one, we have the x, but we need an x plus 1 and an x minus 1 to make this have a common denominator. So I'm going to distribute the 5 to the first one and then FOIL. So if I distribute this, I get 5x plus 5 times x minus 1. Then if I FOIL, first times first gives me 5x squared. Outside times outside is negative 5x. Inside times inside is positive 5x. Last times last is negative 5. And now the bottoms are all the same. So now we just add our numerators by combining like terms. So I'm going to find all the x squareds. So I have 3x squared, 5x squared, that makes 8x squared. Then I'll do the x's. So I have positive 3x plus negative 3x is 0. Negative 5x plus positive 5x is still 0. So we'll leave that one. Then we combine the constants. 3 plus negative 5 is negative 2. Bottom stays the same. Now I'm going to take out the greatest common factor on top, which would be 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we have that. Then this top binomial is a difference of squares because 4 and 1 are squares. So if I broke that down one more, it'd be 2x plus 1, 2x minus 1, over x times x plus 1 times x minus 1. Nothing cancels. So that is our final answer. So that is 7.4. Let me know if you have any questions.